Today, I'm going to start off this video by sharing a real-life story about Madam Lim, an extremely talented, intelligent and capable lady working at the highest levels of an MNC in Singapore. Madam Lim underwent a spine surgery and stayed 1 week in the hospital before she was presented with a medical bill that was almost 30 pages long on her day of discharge. Now, unlike most people, Madam Lim actually decided to check through her medical bill line by line, and after discovering some discrepancies, she wanted to find out more from whoever was in charge on why this was so. After a wild goose chase, going from department to department to department, she just gave up because she was just tired and wanted to go home. And her story is not unusual. In fact, Madam Lim is already one of the rare breed of people who actually bothered to check through the medical bills after receiving them after a long stay in the hospital. Can you imagine the stress, the trauma, and just general tiredness and just wanting to go home after a long hospital stay? Can you really blame anybody for not wanting to check through the medical bills? Even if they did check it through, how would you know what you checked through was right or wrong? Today, I'm going to share with you what Madam Lim could have done in order to resolve her medical bills quickly and efficiently. Hi, I'm Benjamin. I'm not a doctor, neither am I an insurance agent. I've instead spent the last 20 years managing the administrative part of healthcare, the part that almost nobody knows about or understands. I've seen hundreds of patients trying to understand medical documents that were never designed for them. I'll be taking the parts of healthcare that are harder to understand than they should be and translating them so that the next time you or your loved ones visit a healthcare facility, you will be prepared and not be confused. A medical bill has three audiences: the hospital administration, the insurer or payer, and you, the patient. However, it was designed only for the first two. This is why hospital bills contain jargon that only they understand. Codes like CBT, ICD, DRG, and even codes that only exist within a particular hospital or system. They were never meant for patients to understand. They were meant to be settled between the payer and the provider. It's not your fault that you do not understand them. For what it's worth, I'm also a certified fraud examiner. Now, to be clear, the vast majority of errors found in medical bills are non-fraudulent in nature. They are not fraud, but are a result of clerical errors or system errors that healthcare providers themselves often don't realize. They are the results of friction arising from documents that were meant for two parties and handed over to a third. But knowing how a fraud examiner goes through a medical bill will help you in understanding yours as well. And this is what I'll be sharing with you today. Now, here are 5 things about your medical bill that you probably don't know about. Not because anybody's trying to hide them from you, but because probably nobody has ever sat you down to explain things clearly to you. Again, it's not your fault that you don't understand them. First off, we have duplicate charges. As the name suggests, these are items, services, or procedures performed or given to you that were charged twice or even more than that. They are often easy to spot, easy to rectify, but only if you have the itemized bill. Next up, we have something called upcoding. Even though it may seem like a strange term to use in a medical bill, it's essentially something or service that was charged higher than what was actually provided. For example, a 30-minute consultation charged as a 60-minute one. A standard CT scan charged as a CT scan with contrast. Again, this can only be detected if you have an itemized bill with you. Now, we're going to talk about something called phantom charges. These are charges that may or may not have happened or given to you during your stay at the hospital. For example, you may not remember whether a particular specialist came around to see you on this particular day. Or you thought that, hey, did I or did I not stay in the recovery room after my operation? Are they correct to charge me this? Next, we have something called unbundling. Now, what is that, you may ask? It's essentially, if you go to a McDonald's and you order a Happy Meal, and instead of charging you one price for the Happy Meal, they decided to charge you separately for the box, the toy, the burger, the fries, and even the drink. This is very difficult often for patients to see at first glance, but if you happen to see certain items being charged separately for a similar procedure or for a similar service, it's best for you to ask. At this point in time, I hope that you already have a copy of your itemized medical bill with you, and if you do happen to discover any of the 4 discrepancies as mentioned, the best thing you can do is to approach the billing office, not social media. I know that it's often a very stressful experience in a very traumatic time in your life. But resolving things with the billing office directly is often much more efficient and less stressful for you. But wait, there's more. You may not believe it, but this can actually happen to you in your medical bill. Did you know that your name can be spelled wrongly? Or if you happen to have a very long name, it can be cut off abruptly halfway, and insurance companies can have problems trying to identify you, and your claims may be delayed or even denied. It is very important to double check your name, your identification number, and even your insurance coverage at the point of registration or admission at the healthcare provider. Just like even missing one letter on your air ticket can ruin your entire holiday, missing similar details at the point of registration will cause you a lot of headache and stress down the road. At this point, we have discussed the importance of having an itemized medical bill in order for you to check through them effectively. However, most patients only receive a summarized bill by default. This bill only shows the total sum at the end of the bill with very little line items described. If any, they are described in categories that are vague and hard to check through. Most patients don't realize that they are entitled to an itemized medical bill or are afraid to ask. Have you ever wondered why? It's actually very simple to request a fully itemized medical bill from the billing office. All you have to do is ask. 1. Hospitals are required, in most circumstances, to provide a detailed medical bill on request. 2. If they are unable to provide to you this copy on demand, they will usually take about 5 to 10 business days to either email or mail you a hard copy. 3. It is actually free. You do not have to pay for it. 4. If for some reason the billing department refuses to provide you an itemized medical bill, ask for their billing supervisor by name. Remember, it is your right to request an itemized medical bill after the end of your stay at a healthcare provider. Being in a hospital is a very stressful experience, and it's perfectly understandable that you or your family members just want to settle the medical bill as soon as possible so that you can all go home. But if you do find something wrong with your medical bill, I will highly recommend the following steps in order to provide you a long-term solution that will cause you much less stress in the future. First of all, don't pay first. Once you have paid your medical bill, any recovery is often much slower and harder. If you have already paid, you can still dispute the medical bill, but disputing it before you have made full payment is always better. Secondly, work with the hospital's billing office before contacting the insurer. Most billing errors and discrepancies can be resolved quickly and efficiently directly with the hospital. Going to insurance first delays the resolutions by weeks or even months, because now 3 parties have to correspond concurrently instead of 2 directly. Thirdly, document every interaction. Note down the date, time, name of the person you spoke with, the reference number, and even the exact words if possible. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Documentation is king. Billing disputes aren't resolved on whether you are right. They are also resolved on whether you have a concrete paper trail that both sides can understand and reference to. The patients who gets bills corrected or their disputes resolved aren't often the ones with the strongest case. They are the ones with the cleanest documentation. Fourthly, remember to ask for written confirmation of any change. A verbal "we'll fix it" is often not enough. Get an updated bill issued in writing before you accept that the matter is resolved. Don't be afraid to escalate this matter if needed. However, if the reason for rejection is due to insurance guidelines or regulations, don't be afraid to appeal. In my experience, the patients who have appealed stand a pretty high chance of getting the decision reversed. Remember, if you don't appeal, then the decision stands forever. Let's do this. Pull up your last medical bill, whether is it yours, your parents, or anyone else's. Look at it for 30 seconds. Can you tell me what's actually itemized on it? If you can't, don't worry. You're not alone. Most people can do this. But now, at least you know what to ask and what to look out for. Subscribe to our channel. I'll see you then.